Corey Boles, senior analyst with Eurasia. Nice to see you the day after the Democratic debate.
Thanks, Rhonda.
So who won?
Well, Secretary Clinton clearly won last night's debate. She seemed far more presidential than any of the other aspiring candidates. Indeed, some of those candidates looked lost. Governor or Senator Chafee didn't even seem to realize where he was. At times, Senator Webb, former Senator Webb, of course, his main gripe was about how little airtime he was getting. And even Senator Sanders at times looked like he was lost in the light. Certainly when it came to foreign policy, he looked adrift. Governor O'Malley, he had a good night, but whether it did enough to really register with voters, well, I guess we'll see, but my inclination says probably not.
We have seen Hillary Clinton's lead slip in some polls before this debate. Do you think that reverses?
Yeah, I always find it difficult to prejudge polling. However, I mean, I think Clinton clearly won the debate. I would be surprised if anybody but her got a significant bump. It wouldn't surprise me if she recovered her place at the top of the standings. Whether that means whether that's the case in Iowa and New Hampshire, you know, these early state polls, I'm not sure it's that important at this point. But clearly, she resonated a presidential aura, unlike the other aspiring candidates.
So, what's the most important thing for her to do going forward? And then, what can Bernie Sanders also do to perhaps try to rebuild momentum that could have been lost last night?
Yeah, Senator Sanders, I think, needs to really crash up on his foreign policy bona fides. I mean, his domestic message, I'm sure, resonates with a lot of young Democratic primary voters. But if you want to be president of the United States, I think you have to have an answer for the various foreign policy challenges facing the U.S. When it came to foreign policy last night, Secretary Clinton, perhaps unsurprisingly, knew what she was talking about, had a solid and firm answer for all of the questions fired at her. I think Sanders needs to bone up on his foreign policy questions. I also think that he needs to be a bit sharper. He gave Secretary Clinton a pass too many times. Clearly, one could argue that the highlight of the night was when he avoided the temptation to bash her over the email scandal. Maybe that was the right thing to do, but politically, perhaps he missed an opportunity.
What was most surprising to you in what you saw last night, either in an exchange or how the potential candidates behaved?
You know, besides the email moment, I think which was good TV. I thought Senator Sanders' answer over the marijuana question. As far as I'm aware, he's the first major presidential candidate to endorse recreational marijuana. I thought the attempts by Governor O'Malley to distance himself from Clinton on the Glass-Steagall question, of course, the breaking up the big banks, was interesting. I don't think it worked, but clearly his entire campaign is based on that point and the idea that the U.S. can go entirely non-fossil fuel by 2050, I believe he says, are his two debate points. Overall, Secretary Clinton, she just exuded confidence. Clearly, she prepped far more than any of the other candidates. I must admit, at times, Senator Sanders didn't look like he even knew what he was being asked. So I thought that, as a general sense, Senator Clinton was very prepared and handled herself very well.
So we have a Republican debate coming up very soon. What should those candidates take away from the Democratic debate last night and take forward with them when they're all on the stage?
Well, I doubt they will take any of this, but the takeaway I had from the Democratic debate is there was very few personal attacks. There was very few barbed criticisms of each other. They were talking about issues and substance in a way that, frankly, we haven't seen during the two Republican debates so far. Yes, the latter half of the second Republican debate got into foreign policy to a degree, but there was a lot of grenades being tossed back and forth and a lot of personal jabs in a way that you just did not see in the Democrat. As a voter, as a potential voter, I should imagine most people like to see what these individuals have to say about substance and not what they think about each other.
Corey Boles, great to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.